Welcome to the Middle East Teaching and Learning Conference.
Hello, my name is Svetlana Belic-Malinic and I'm an academic director at the Institute for Contemporary Education, a member of Link Educational Alliance located in Belgrade, Serbia. Hello from Serbia. I'm a teacher trainer, but also a lifelong learner, and I'll be sharing my learning and teaching enthusiasm with so many people around the world. I ideated a lot of educational projects, some of them were deliverables at a state level, and I'm so very proud of that. Ever since I completed my PhD in international education at the University of Leicester, I've been a fierce advocate of creativity, creative teaching and creative thinking. Actually, my PhD thesis explored how teachers can reinvent their pedagogies, how they can sprinkle a little bit of creative ideas that emerged from peer collaboration and reciprocal coaching. I'm also a Cambridge International Specialist, an accredited program leader for Cambridge Professional Development Qualifications, where I help teachers think outside the box, think creatively, right? I help them reinvent their pedagogies, learn from their teaching experiences, distress and truly enjoy what they're doing. I'm so very grateful for such an opportunity. My pedagogical contributions have been greatly appreciated. I've been nominated for the Global Teacher of the Year Award. I'm also a recipient of John Haycroft Scholarship for Classroom Exploration, and I inspired teachers to think creatively, to teach creatively, especially in this region. Today, I'm here to inspire you. I'm here actually to take you on a quest. I'm going to show you a wonderful world of metacognitive creativity. Are you ready?
It might have been the shape of the moon or the sun that inspired a prehistoric man to invent the wheel around 3,500 years before Christ. Surprisingly though, it had been first used by potters to create amazing artifacts before it was used in transport some 300 years later. The legend holds that in ancient Greece, legendary artificer Daedalus used his design skills to lock a monster Minotaur in a complex labyrinth of walls. And Leonardo da Vinci, he made unthinkable linkages between science and art in his sketches, inspiring both artists and scientists in centuries to come to invent machines that changed the course of history. The more recent times witness some innovators whose groundbreaking ideas and creative minds brought us technological delights, space explorations, and scientific advances that are benchmarking Industrial Revolution 4.0. So, we have been creative creatures for centuries before the first concept of STEM was introduced in schools. Why were art, creativity and design forgotten in the STEM square? Children's skills to learn and deduct from observations, visualization, tactile experiences or subjective interpretations provide a strong argument for transforming STEM education. The A, that is arts, is actually alpha for STEM. It brings virtue to it by empowering students to live their learning experiences and connect their emotions with scientific evidence. Thus, the STEAM concept is born an upgraded and enhanced version of STEM. It scaffolds children to think outside the box and occupies their problem solving with the secret source of creative thinking. A very wise man, the one who inspired me to talk about metacognitive creativity today, said that we are now running national educational systems, so mistakes are the worst thing you can make. And the result is that we are educating people out of their creative capacities. This is such a pity, isn't it? Our educational system fails to curate children's innate curiosity and let them unleash their creative souls. According to the World Economic Forum, upskilling and reskilling in the next 5 years will be a global demand, and creativity is one of the most important skills. In response to these trends, a large multidisciplinary PISA 2022 survey will be launched, aimed at determining the creative thinking skills level among the 15-year-olds. And it will place great emphasis on an individual's malleable ability to generate new ideas, which brings creativity into correlation with problem-solving skills. But how does creativity work in the first place? Creativity involves putting your imagination to work. In a sense, creativity is applied imagination, holds Sir Ken Robinson, who strongly believed in creativity as a changing paradigm. To think creatively, we generate ideas and let them incubate for a while. While they're cooking, they will get sprinkled with inspiration before the aha moment, known as illumination. With all these brilliant ideas in mind, we can now try them out and verify the application in reality. The key to creative thinking are questions. Copernicus, Galileo, and Kepler did not solve an old problem. They asked a new question, and in doing so, they changed the whole basis on which the old questions had been framed. Holds Sir Ken Robinson, a fierce advocate for creativity in education. When asking questions, we should try putting different hats on, change our perspectives, and create new solutions to situations, issues, or problems. Teaching for creativity involves teaching creatively. There are 3 related tasks in teaching for creativity: encouraging, identifying, and fostering, highlighted Sir Ken Robinson. Great! So how to teach creatively? Do we have to use only the right side of the brain where our creativity resides? What if we're not creative at all? Well, there is no such thing as a creative type. We're all creative, every one of us. We just need a bigger definition of creativity, said John Spencer. To teach creatively, simply put a hat on. Use any prompt around you to illuminate new paths to learning. Teachers who love teaching teach students to love learning, to inspire them, show them where to look, but not what to see. Grow their minds, but also grow their hearts. Here are some guidelines. Let your students tap into intrinsic motivation. Assign them tasks that they like to do enthusiastically. If they like what they're doing, they're more likely to easily process cognitive overload. Let your students embrace their choice and own their learning. By doing so, they will not be passive recipients of new knowledge, but co-constructors who create new concepts and generate new ideas. Provide scaffolding along the way. Empower students to match the challenge level to their ability level. Explain to them that, mistakes are just fine in the learning process. Even the greatest minds made mistakes. Benjamin Franklin once wisely said, "I didn't fail the test, I just found 100 ways to do it wrong." Try to minimize distractions, as this might help your students focus on their learning. Now, It might be a little bit difficult to tell what is a distraction and what inspiration, but to be honest, it depends not only on personal learning style or preferences, but also on the cultural norms and ways students accommodate themselves in the setting. What I know for sure is there is no size-fits-all kind of approach. And finally, encourage metacognition. But what is metacognition? How does it work? Metacognition is often an overlooked component of learning, yet it empowers students to learn planning and goal setting while monitoring their own progress. When challenged, they should put their hats on and assess a task, evaluate their strengths and weaknesses, and plan how to proceed. While discovering alternatives to their learning strategies, they engage in creative thinking and let their ideas illuminate the path. The more freedom and support they get along the way, the more creative they grow. Therefore, when creating tasks to foster metacognition, we have to think of how to balance challenge and skill levels. When we strike the right balance, the students are in the state of flow. They like what they do and they do it enthusiastically. They're happy, and happy students learn best. However, if a challenge level is set high and students struggle with their skills, then we create learning anxiety, which is obviously not good. On the other hand, if there is little challenge and students are quite skilled, they get bored. It is therefore important to inspire students to think about thinking and learn about learning. Students process metacognition in various ways. Tasked students are unaware of learning and quite indifferent to acquiring new knowledge. Students who are aware of metacognition might use some strategies such as, finding evidence or correlations, but their efforts are not deliberate or planned. Strategic students use higher order thinking skills to generate creative alternatives, but they do not learn beyond good grades. Reflective students go a step further. They are curious, inquisitive, and understand the value of evaluation and adaptation. Now they ask new questions and they think outside the box. Learning happens in the minds and souls, not in the databases of multiple choice tests, reminds us Ken Robinson. We want to inspire students to think about ways to bring about creativity and creative thinking. We want them to reflect on how to own creative ideas and follow that flow. So how to foster metacognitive creativity? Here are some ideas on how to do it. First of all, assign intrinsically rewarding tasks. This raises the level of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that plays a very important role in the science of learning and motivation. When students do what they like and get awarded for it, they're more likely to cope better with the cognitive overload. Set clear goals and develop a sense of progress. If students understand that learning is indeed a process, if they can set smart, achievable and measurable goals, then they're motivated to explore alternatives to solutions. Also, make sure to provide clear and immediate feedback. Feedback is very important for milestones and self-confidence. Students need to know that they're on the right track and your scaffolding should guide them. Allow your students to own their learning and understand how personal control or agency affects the task. Don't forget that you're not a sage on the stage, but a guide on the side. So let your students make decisions and see what happens. Such experiential learning is crucial for self-discovery. help them understand what is going on and focus on how much they know now. Now, this is positive reinforcement for self-actualization and self-criticism. Assessing their own strengths and weaknesses is a powerful tool for students' metacognitive strategies. During the thinking process, we give our thoughts new perspectives through the incubation and illumination of ideas. By seeking inspiration in new ideas, our process of thinking about thinking gets a new dimension. And this is actually where metacognitive creativity is born. So, let's go back to the metacognitive cycle and see what it looks like now with a creative thinking twist. Assess the task, but with a state of flow in mind. Adjust challenge and skill levels to ignite intrinsic motivation and learning enthusiasm. Use the 6 hats to evaluate your tasks and give them various perspectives. Then plan by incubating and illuminating ideas. Don't be afraid to let them swarm and buzz around. Use feedback when applying and adapt accordingly. Reflect on the progress and allow yourself to make mistakes. After all, they're part of the learning process. Good. Okay, so let me take you back to the STEAM concept that I mentioned at the very beginning of this presentation. I stressed how important the A in STEAM is and how creativity has become the secret sauce in this pot. Metacognitive creativity brings together the elements of problem solving and creative thinking, setting thus good grounds for innovations in STEAM. When we encourage students to combine metacognitive strategies and creativity, we scaffold their innate ability to consciously merge personal interpretations with scientific processes, that is, self-knowledge and contextual knowledge. By doing so, we empower students to use their heads, hands, and heart, engage in divergent, convergent thinking interactions, and think of alternative solutions. So, finally, STEM might become an acronym for scaffolding thinking through emotions, agility, and metacognition. What a wonderful concept to explore. Don't forget, if you're not prepared to be wrong, you will never come up with anything original. I teach metacognitive creativity. What is your superpower?